It's been the same thing with this show. I've said to people, yeah, we're going Monday to Friday noon. And I've done that to hold myself accountable, because if I want people to show up for the show, then I got to show them I'm going to be there for them. So it's that same accountability. So Patrick, we've learned why we should not write a book. Now it's your turn to tell the audience why they want to buy your book and where they can get Patrick Mork's book before we wrap up to say goodbye.
Sure. I think every single one of us, right, watching the show or not, we all have dreams. We all have things that we want to do with our lives. We all have kind of things that we want to change. And so my reason for writing this book was I wanted to try and simplify the process of change in words, right? I wanted to share some stories that are very personal about all the hell that I went through to make the changes that I need to make to leave a career, embark on a new career, change countries, do all this stuff, right? And I wanted to do it in a way that was fun and entertaining for people, which I've heard it is. And I wanted to leave people with practical exercises that they could do on their own without having to hire an expensive coach. Because the reality is most people can't afford an expensive coach. It's just too expensive, right? And so people always say, like, how do I make change happen in my life? What do I need to do? And what I found was that there's so many basic tools, Keith, which don't require you to have an MBA. They don't require you to have gone to a good school. They don't require you to have worked at Google, that anybody can use. And so my goal with the book was entertain people, educate people, give them the tools to make shit happen in their lives. Whether they do it afterwards is up to them. But I wanted to give them the tools and entertain them in the process and give them great stories all in one package so that they could read this and they could hopefully start applying some of these things in their own lives and see change happen. And do it from the perspective of reading something that's fun as opposed to reading something that sounds like a boring class on self-development, because nobody wants like a class on self-development. It's just too dry. If you want to have a fun time and enjoy the process, enjoy the stories, have a couple of good laughs at my expense, which I'm sure you will, have some cries at my expense. There are people who have told me that they have had some cries at my expense. And if you have any desire to make an important change in your life and lead the kind of life that you were meant to lead, I think this book will help you get there. That's my honest belief. And that's what people who have told me, including top CEOs at startups and top CEOs in big public companies, including a $25 billion retailer. The CEO of that company read the book and was like, this is really inspiring. And this is really about courage and change. So that's my pitch, if you will. I never wrote this book for the money, Keith. I've always been very open about that. And as authors, I'm glad I don't live off the book, because no matter how many copies you sell, you probably starve anyway. But it's a book I think people will enjoy. It's a book that I think will make people profoundly think about their lives. And it's a book that's going to give you the tools and some of the questions that you need to make the changes you want. Whether you do them afterwards is up to you.
And
Mostly the book's available online.
And they can find it on Amazon. They can find it online, right?
Yeah, you can find it on Amazon. You can find it on Apple Books. You can find it on Google Play Books. You can find it on Barnes & Noble online. I haven't really made much of an effort to get it into traditional bookstores and stuff, because that's just a ton of additional work. But yeah, any major online retailer, you'll be able to find it. And I think I think there's a Thanksgiving promo running on Amazon right now. So I think it's like $1.99 for this week as opposed to $9.99 or something for the ebook. So.
Perfect. Was there anything that you wanted to throw out there that we did not get to? I know there's plenty in my brain that we did not get to, but we ran out of time, so we're going to have to book a number 2. Is there anything that you want to throw out there that we just did not get a chance to talk about today that you feel is important the audience hears from you?
I think the only thing I would tell your audience to think about it is, this is especially true for guys, and this is especially true for people who have been, I think, fairly successful in anything, is it's okay to ask for help. I think sometimes there's a stigma, especially among guys, that we're supposed to be so tough, we're supposed to be so badass and invulnerable that we don't reach out and ask for help until it's too late often. And you hear horror stories of people that were once successful fall by the wayside because they don't reach out for help. And I was one of those in 2017 who was near depression and all that stuff. And so what I would say is never be embarrassed or too cocky about yourself to reach it out and ask for help to anybody, to a friend, to a therapist, to a girlfriend, a partner, a coach, whoever. I think people forget that the cool thing about asking for help, Keith, is not only do you help yourself, but actually you help the person who's helping you, because people feel good when they help others. Like I like doing what I do because I enjoy helping other people. It makes me feel awesome. It makes me feel needed. Whenever you doubt about asking for help, never doubt, because first you're going to help yourself, and second, you're going to make somebody else feel really good about helping you. So those would be my parting Thanksgiving words for the audience.
I love it. Those words are full of vitamin G. And I got to crack a joke with you, my friend, because I recall at the beginning of the show, you said you didn't like helping people. So clearly you learned something along the way that
I learned a lot.
You learned a lot in your journey, and a very inspiring journey, Patrick Mork. Thanks for sharing it with us today. I'm just going to throw you off into the green room, say goodbye to the audience, and come back to you and walk you out of the lab. All right?
Sounds good, buddy.
All right.
Happy Thanksgiving. Thanks for the invite. It was awesome.
Happy Thanksgiving, Patrick. Hang tight here. We're going to move you over here. I'm going to come over there and be mindful of everybody's time here today in the lab. Listen, I don't think I could really say it any better than how Patrick did. If you're listening to the show right now and you're thinking, I'm in a tough spot, because tough spots happen in the middle of the day, in the middle of the night, in the middle of the morning. But right now, if you're in a tough spot, you're thinking, where do I go next? Call a buddy. Like, actually call him, text him, call him, reach out to him. Reach out to me. I'm here. I'm in the lab. Truthfully, I had somebody call me last week. The show ended, my phone rang, and I was like, hello? And who phones people these days? And he's like, hey, you got a second? I'm like, yeah. And he wanted to talk. So that's what we're trying to do here in the lab, is give this place, this locker room, this laboratory, this lab, a safe space for you business leaders, for you athletes, retiring athletes, any guys out there that just need some place to go. You come belong here. That's what we're looking to do. We do Monday to Friday, holding ourselves accountable, Monday to Friday, noon Central. We go live here in the lab, YouTube, X, and LinkedIn. And on a happy Thanksgiving weekend, have a great weekend. We're back tomorrow. We're holding ourselves accountable. We got Chris Dingman, NHL player, great story. Retired 2 Stanley Cup rings, played with Gretz, played with a lot of the big names out there. And he tells some interesting stories you're going to enjoy on tomorrow's show. And think about this. You go from playing in front of thousands and thousands of fans, playing with some of the biggest names in sports, and you're sitting in your car, humbled and maybe nervous to go do a cold call. I'm Keith Billis. I'm live in the lab, and I'll see you tomorrow.